Let's bring in Lisa Yasko. Lisa is a Ukrainian MP for President Zelensky's party, Sluga Narody, or Servant of the People. Lisa, as always, pleasure to have you with us here on France 24. We always appreciate your time. I know things are difficult there for you. Tell us, when you see that Mark Rutte is in Kyiv at the same time as Vladimir Putin decides to launch this massive attack, can you take some kind of heart in the fact that this is the head of NATO witnessing firsthand exactly what you're going through?
Well, I think actually it brings our reality to very contrasting picture, because now I'm talking to you in the darkness. And I can show you that I have such kind of lamps with me. This is a sun battery lamp, and here is the candle, because since the last night we don't have electricity in the place where I live. I'm lucky that I have a heating today, so I can speak with you without my jacket on, just in my shirt. But many of the houses in Kiev are in a worse situation. And when we see Mark Rutte, who says that NATO is with Ukraine, if to be very honest, the average reaction, not only from me, but also from Ukrainian, is actually, okay, what exactly does it mean? It's been 4 years of the full-scale invasion. People are very tired and exhausted. We are living in darkness and coldness, and actually it is possible to live in such circumstances, but I think NATO could do so much more. I'm always very optimistic about the role of Europe, but I think the NATO is actually one of the actors that could do so much more in terms of security. So I think people today are not very understanding what NATO is doing today.
What would you like to see NATO do, Lisa? Could you spell that out for everybody? Just be clear. What would you like NATO to do?
Well, I will speak very simple language. To know, I want all of us to know that, for instance, NATO gave us this weapon that would protect this city, that NATO decided to close the sky so that if any drone or any attack would go on that area, that NATO will start protecting that area. We want very clear response to all signs and a real Russian aggression, not only on Ukrainian territory, but also on the territory of other countries. And we know cases of the drones flying in different countries. The NATO needs to be tough, and not only as the consulting institution that comes together and discusses what shall we do. We are people of action, Ukrainians, not because we decided we want to, that because our life is, let's say, that tough that we cannot allow ourselves just to talk. We have to do things, and this is existential and needed for survival. We don't see the same thing coming from NATO as an organization. But again, I don't want to criticize, but I want to reflect the average mood of Ukrainians today.
It doesn't come across as criticism, Lisa. It comes across as the natural frustration that you all must be feeling, because you've been asking for these things from the very start, to close the skies, to give you the weapons to fight, to give you the actual material support to do that. And to an extent, of course, there was some there, but not enough. And clearly there needs to be more support there and more concrete help, as you're talking about. And I'm wondering, with this massive attack launched by Putin overnight, with the scale of that, with Mark Rutte there to witness it, and visiting one of the power plants that was struck, we're on the eve of talks resuming in some way, shape or form. And President Zelenskyy himself saying, who will believe that there is power to guarantee anything like a new outbreak of war when we see what Putin was capable of doing last night? Do you feel any optimism as these talks are about to restart?
I don't have any optimism on that, but I have optimism on the fact that more and more Putin is exhausted himself as well, not as much as he could be before, not as much as we all could force him to be. We could stop this war machine so much earlier, not only by Ukrainian lives, but with so many other instruments, as sanctions, as stopping trade with Russia, as isolating Russia, as making sure that the Russian war machine stops or at least has serious difficulties. These things could be done much earlier and much harder. But the timeline of all of that is unknown. And I think at this stage, only God knows what will happen and when will it happen. Because this winter is the hardest for us, for all of us. But I'm not sure that this is the last winter. And I think we have to be prepared that we survive, not only as Ukraine, but as Europe, as other countries, as societies, as people. And accepting the truth and reality is already very important. And if I'm speaking on behalf of myself, I know that I don't have hopes. I accept reality and it helps me. I know that it's minus 20 degrees. I know that there might be no heating in my house, as it was a number of times. I know that there is no electricity and no water. This is a reality that I have to cope in order to survive together with my family here.
Lisa Yasko, as always, it is a pleasure speaking to you, and we really appreciate the fact that you give us such an honest and open account of what you're going through on a personal level, but also, of course, on a state level, given your status as MP in the Servant of the People Party of President Zelelnskyy, Sluga Narody. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe. I hope your family stays safe, and of course, power to you there in Ukraine with the continuing fight that you are leading. Thank you, Lisa Yasko, for joining us.